All right, welcome to Season 5, Episode 22, also known as Episode 158 of the Retro Game Club podcast. My name is Hugh, and joining me is someone with a detachable drive, Rob.
Yeah, doesn't King Missile have a song about that, I think?
That's where I was afraid that comment was going to go.
You know, I've been trying to use the bleep button here for a while, so maybe finally we'll be able to. But yeah, of course, that references the new slim PS5.
Yes, which isn't it actually bigger than the original PS5?
No, it's way smaller. It's way smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it costs less, right?
No, of course not. It actually costs more.
Really?
Yes.
So you get less PlayStation 5 for the same price?
I guess it uses less electricity, maybe, so maybe you save annually.
I don't know.
Is that on your wish list?
No. I still don't know what I would play on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I can't think of a single game I actually really want on it.
Because you have a PS4, right?
I do, and a Switch.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, most games, like, there's a handful of games that they up-res on PS5 and maybe use some ray tracing, but who cares, kind of? And also, with a lot of those games, it's like, but if you want 60 frames per second, all that gets turned off, or a lot of it, so.
Okay.
So, yeah. What's been going on?
That is a good question. So someone emailed me because they wanted to do, or I guess they did do, a walkthrough for my old Genesis demo I did. I say old because it was like, it's probably 4 years old now. Wait, no. Yeah, it is 4 years old.
Yeah, it's like right around when we started recording. Well, a year in, it would be.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So it was the game I wrote called Retail Clerk 89. I guess they got it, I think, off romhacking.net because romhacking.net has, homebrew ROMs also. Mm-hmm. So, like, he had emailed me and said, I'm trying to do this video, but I can't figure out how to get, like, the 100% ending.
Okay.
So I just said, yeah, I have that on my website. You must not have gotten it from there, right?
Okay.
You must have gotten the download of the game from somewhere else, because on my actual site, I have a link to, like, here's the 100% walkthrough if you are really so inclined. But I didn't watch the video because I can't use YouTube anymore.
Because of the pie hole?
Because of Pi-hole, yeah.
Well, it's funny because I thought this was like his second playthrough because he was talking about how to get the 100% ending a few times. So, I fast forwarded through it a little bit, so I didn't hear if he said he was using a walkthrough. So I didn't get that part.
Yeah, I don't blame you for, it's not like the most exciting game to watch all the way through, and I know it's probably about an hour, a little over an hour to play through 100%.
How did you design the character sprites in those? I like those characters.
Well, originally I was basing them off the Phantasy Star 2 sprites. Mm-hmm. They look a lot like the Phantasy Star 2 sprites, yeah. But then I changed them. I have a post somewhere where I talk about it because, like, one of the things is, like, in Phantasy Star 2, the female sprites all do that, like, dainty walk, like they have their hands out to the side whenever they walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like all women. Every woman you've ever seen in your entire life walks with, like, her hands.
It's almost like a Jar Jar Binks walk.
Yeah, like at a 90% angle to their hips, swaying their hands around when they walk. Just like every woman you've ever seen. So I changed that aspect of the sprites, and I didn't make huge. I changed the overall shape of the sprites a little bit. Mm-hmm. Phantasy Star 2 really only has like a couple sprite shapes. So I changed it up a little bit, mostly to come up with, like, just different body types. I basically created, like, short, a little heavy set, short skinny, medium heavy set, medium skinny, tall, so on, times 2 genders, so however many body types that is. Mm-hmm. And then I just sort of, like, randomly assign people to a body type, and I think there's, like, an equal distribution of them. I think I used each one twice or something. I don't remember.
Okay. One of the only critical things he said is he really wanted, like, a run button when you're going across the mall.
Yeah. Well, if I ever do make a second game like that, it will have a run button.
It should have, like, if you do that, it should be like Space Quest 4 type stuff. Like when you're doing weird stuff in Space Quest, people in the background will comment on it. Like there could be like, why is that guy running? Or something like that.
Yeah, so I didn't add a run button, but like way back when I started working on another game using the same engine, I added hold Z for fast forward, which basically, instead of animating the sprites every 2 frames, it animates them every frame if you're holding the Z button down.
Okay.
So you also have to own a 6-button controller, I guess, to take advantage of that. But
nice.
But everyone's playing on an emulator anyway, so who cares, right? Like, you have 6 buttons because you're playing it on an emulator.
I feel like with your 2 games, and possibly, I mean, we haven't talked about this, but possibly more in the future, you never said you weren't going to make another game. I think you could actually like a booth now at some events.
No.
I think some people would like, I'm not saying you would like that, but I'm saying people might like you to do that.
Perhaps, but I have no interest in ever doing anything like that.
No.
I will pretty much never, ever do that.
Yeah, I always wondered about those guys, like the at the what's it called, the Midwest Vintage Computer Show.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys, like the 8-Bit guy and a few others, are there. And I don't know what I would say to them. Like, hi, I've seen you on YouTube. I like computers. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would just be sitting there bored all day and then re-explaining the same things like 20 times.
Yeah, you can use one of those like a drum machine that you can pre-assign certain comments that you could say to people, so you just press a button for the person.
Yeah, like a wacky morning DJ soundboard.
Exactly, yeah.
Get one of those, yeah. No, I have no interest in it. And you mentioned that because I was actually looking at there's a game jam that I never participated in like a game jam thing, but this one was, you can put a link to it in the notes, whoever puts up the notes. It's called the LSD Jam, and it's supposed to be where you develop a game based on a dream, like a dream emulator.
Ooh, yeah.
And there's already like 20 people. It says there's like 20 people interested in it. Or there's 20 posts and 433 people joined. I'm like, that seems like pretty good turnout for a little like itch.io game jam.
Are there other restrictions, like it has to be a certain size? Because you write all this stuff in assembly, so you could not do that and make it easier on yourself.
It says it can be made in anything as long as people can play it.
So you could do like RGP Maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I could just crank out something in the game engine I already wrote.
Oh, yeah.
But I have a few ideas. I may or may not join it. I don't know. Because it runs for like 4 months. It's not like one of these, you try and write something in 48 hours. It's try and write something in 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I could probably realistically do another small demo if I had an idea that I really liked.
Podcast simulator. Where...
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's the theme of the jam so much, but...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, dreams, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've got a few reoccurring ones that could definitely turn into something bizarre. It's the last day of college and I haven't studied dream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody gets that one, right?
I do. Yeah.
I think everybody does. No, that's about it. I got into both our games of the week this time, so
cool. Very cool.
That was fun. And yeah, I think I put a note here about the PS5 Slim, and I don't think I'm even going to look at it until I know what kind of a game GTA 6 is. Like, does it have a story mode? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
like,
I'm almost positive.
Online game?
I'm almost positive it has story mode because that one guy in England leaked like all of the Unreal Engine or whatever it's written in. So you could actually see parts of it already, unless it was taken down.
Yeah, I'm mostly concerned it's going to just be an online game because that's where they make all their money.
No, that's what I'm saying. It definitely seemed like it wasn't.
Okay.
It's like
because clearly I assume I won't be able to play Grand Theft Auto 6 on the PS4.
I kind of hope not. I hope they make the jump finally.
Yeah, and I'm positive I won't be able to play it on the Switch because you can't play Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Switch.
Yeah, or they do Mortal Kombat 1. Have you seen Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch?
No. I mean, the Mortal Kombat games have
it has
turned into
It has no textures.
Okay. My problem is the Mortal Kombat series has kind of turned into a Saw movie.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So it seems less about combat than it does about
gore.
But not just gore, like Saw type of gore, which is different. Like I watch slasher movies all the time, but I can't watch the torture movies.
I am interested in the assist system in that game, though. But
okay.
That's all.
That's all I got, man. What have you been up to?
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, I also had the PS5 Slim in my notes, and mostly just, it has a detachable drive, so I hope Crits is on it and already making ODE for some emulating on it. So you could get like a 1 terabyte SD card and fit 2 games on it or something.
Yeah, fit a whole game on it, yeah.
Or, I mean, I guess you could do a network adapter to it, maybe, and then...
Yeah. They have that for PS2, right? Because you can hook up your PS2 to, like, a network drive.
Yeah, and like a Naomi, which is the arcade Dreamcast, you could do network stuff from that. So just have, like, old Windows machine that it pulls games from. And since Ethernet is often faster than an old CD drive, you don't even notice.
Yeah.
And then what else? I've been doing a lot of IT certifications.
Why?
My work pays for them.
Okay.
Such fluff. Like,
I've never done one because of that reason.
It's horrible. It's like when you're doing stuff for like a cloud service or something, it's like, where do you find this? Is it in this menu, or this menu? And it's like, who cares? Just use your eyes on the website and look for it, and then the next time you'll know where it's at. It'd be much better if they said, build a scalable application with these tools and then send us the link to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, so I'll give you an example. I talked to you about this offline in the last episode, but I'm sure listeners will find this thrilling. So let's say you run a site in AWS, right? Mm-hmm. Which a lot of people do. And let's say you have to enable cores for some objects, right? Mm-hmm. Because the cross-origin resource sharing. Yeah. It's basically saying that, hey, I have this resource on my site that is shared with some other domain. So I have like www domain 1, and I host some files on there, and www domain 2 can embed those files. Mm-hmm. Not everyone knows what X-frame is. It's not like an iframe. It's just a way to share objects. Typically things like I have a subdomain where I'm going to host fonts. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that. So fonts.mysite.com. And I'm going to put the fonts there, and then anything else under mysite.com can use those fonts. Mm-hmm. So in AWS has set up your site to allow cross-origin resource sharing, right? There's 3 different tutorials because every 2 years they change how to do it. So if you got AWS certified, it doesn't matter. They've already changed. By the time your diploma is dried, I don't think you actually print them anymore, but you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. By the time your certification is complete, Amazon has already changed how to do that one thing. It's a specific example because Amazon all the time changes how to do everything on their site.
They're all guilty of that. I mean, Google literally removes things. So they're like, hey, company, you spent all these time and resources building on this one platform. We decided in a year we're going to get rid of that platform. So sort that out.
Right.
So anyway, I've been spending a lot of time with that, and I've been spending a lot of time with my new studio setup. It's almost done. I'm going to post some photos online. I don't know, some people on this podcast might know or might not know. I used to be in the music business, and I'm dipping my toes back in it, mostly just recording. My friends and I, hey, if you have a band, email us. I do stuff for free. I'm not making money off this. But anyway, it's a real full-blown studio, and I have a few things on back order, so I'm just waiting for those to come in before I take photos and stuff like that. So pretty exciting. I am recording, and I think what'll be the final setup. I'm actually recording in Pro Tools again because they took away the monthly fee. I don't pay a monthly fee for software. I just refuse. Okay. So they did that, and I dove back into it. I mean, Reaper and Logic, Reaper's $70, for like a lifetime license. Like using that is fine, but like I got a deal on Pro Tools, so why not? Because I used to use it all the time. Anyway, I've been spending a lot of time with this, and music and IT certifications are definitely two different sides of the brain that have been, it's been really messing with me and exhausting me, but not much time for new games. I've really, like you, just spent a lot of time with our Game Club games, and really nothing wrong with that, Yeah. But we don't have many news items here. I'll do the first one since I posted it, but I'm sure all our listeners know that Analogue is releasing it's called the Analogue 3D, and it is a Nintendo 64 FPGA. So pretty cool, but the Mister has an N64 core now, so this might be too little too late, because you could do that if you already own a Mister. It's free. One thing that people seem to be glossing over is the OS is finally being updated to 2.0 for the Analog Pocket. So that means you could do filters and stuff like that in the open core, which means like ROMs, instead of just using a cart. So there's a lot more features in that, but this is the stuff that they promised at launch or shortly after launch. So it's nice. It's finally happening.
Yeah, Well, I don't want to complain with the Analog Pocket right now. I like my Analog Pocket. I don't like the cost of the adapters to play more systems on it.
I have never put a cart into my Pocket.
Yeah, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I should just run ROMs off it.
Have you done that process yet to do that?
No.
It'll be the simplest thing you do. Literally, it's an app, and you put the SD card in, and it does everything for you.
Okay.
So it's one of the most painless things I've done.
Yeah, and I'm still are they still taking pre-orders for the Duo?
I don't know. They did announce that is coming out very soon.
Hold on, I'm on their site. Click. Okay, hold on. All I see is glow-in-the-dark pockets. Store. Aha, Duo. Pre-order now. The button is still enabled.
Wow.
$250, but it's probably $100 to ship it, right? Oh, I don't know. Let me go see how my stocks are doing. Wait. Okay. Yeah, so that's cool. I don't know. I'm not going to get this. If I haven't bought the Duo, which is the one that I would actually play a lot, I don't know. I have like two Nintendo 64s. They both work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need a Nintendo 64. My question is, like, when you upscale Nintendo 64 to like a big TV, it looks awful. Let's just all agree on that one.
Yeah.
And, Sony PlayStation 1 looks awful. They look good on, TVs from that era. They don't look great, like, upscaled, I don't think.
No, and there's different modes for the video on, like, FPGA and RetroArch and stuff like that helps with that, but I know what you're saying. You only get so much value out of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But, and again, it sounds like we're both complaining about Analogue. I actually love that company, but
oh yeah, I do like their products. I get it. You're paying a lot because you're getting a good quality product. Fine. The Duo again is like, I've gone to this page a few times and looked at it and thought, do I want? It's ultimately it's an FPGA system, right? It's running. It's not original hardware. You probably can't source that stuff anymore either. So, like, is there any advantage to getting this versus loading the same core on the Pocket?
Yeah. Well, For Nintendo 64?
No, I'm talking about the Duo. I'm going back to the Duo.
Oh, yeah, no.
For the Pocket doesn't have enough buttons to play
the Pocket 64, makes
clearly.
The Pocket plays Duo stuff great.
Okay, I thought you had a problem not running the CDs you couldn't run?
It was a BIOS thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be 10 minutes of your life. And then you'll have so many games on it, you won't know what to play.
That's exactly what I'm fearing, yes.
And then the next story I think you put on there, right?
Yeah, this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while. It's a system called PunyInform. So Inform is a language that was written to create games that are compatible with the Zork engine. So, all the Zork and Infocom games were written in something called Z Machine. Mm-hmm. And someone wrote a language a long time ago called Inform. We might have talked about it in an early episode. That lets you use kind of natural language to create text adventure games or interactive fiction games. I know that crowd is very particular about using the right term.
Yes.
Whatever. It's an adventure game in all text. I'm going to call it text adventure. And Inform's one of the popular systems to make these kind of games in. And this thing, PunyInform, is something that lets you compile your Inform games to a format that then can run on the Apple II Z machine.
Okay.
So that's basically what it's for. If you want to build Zork games and run them on Apple II, as opposed to building these games and then running them on something with more hardware.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's why I like this thing.
I wonder if that's what you do the game jam.
Yeah, I've tried Inform. I actually I literally have spent a bunch of time trying to learn Inform, and it's easy to learn. The problem is I'm not good at describing stuff in text.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if I was to do my mall game in Inform, it'd be like, you're in a shopping mall. It is bright. The shopping mall has floors.
Yeah, yeah.
To the north is some stores. Right? Like that's as much as I can pull off, and even that took a lot of brain energy from. So.
Speaking of shopping malls, again,
yes,
there's a mall near my house that has been in the process of being torn down for years now.
Yep.
But they actually haven't done anything with that much.
Okay.
And now there's like a Jurassic Park Live thing in it with these huge animatronic dinosaurs.
Okay.
Where you pay $10 to go into the mall, and in a very mall setting, there's dinosaurs moving around like Chuck E. Cheese animatronic things. That's all that is. Okay. It's a very strange thing.
Yeah, I guess that's because dinosaurs wouldn't be in the mall, right? Like if it was like you turned into a giant like haunted house or something, that would be cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I've taken my kids to see Jurassic Park Live, and then during the pandemic, they had like a drive-through Jurassic Park Live, which I took them to because it was stupid, but there was nothing else to do because there was a pandemic,
Yeah.
So here's a safe thing to do. And so I get it, but not in a mall. I don't know. Like you said, if they like draped it with Jurassic Park stuff or made it really dark and there was smoke everywhere, maybe, but it's like mall dinosaurs.
Yeah. Or if they just let you live in the mall.
They should.
Like you get a store and you pay rent and people can look in and stuff, I guess. But you could just live there.
They did I also live really close to the Chrysler headquarters, which I guess is now Fiat. And I've been inside.
Fiat bought Chrysler, right?
Yeah, or at least a majority.
The parent company of both of Fiat.
Yeah,
or whoever, yeah.
And it's a very strange building. I was in there a while ago because, I was like 19 and I was doing Silicon Graphics type stuff, and they needed me to do something there. And it was a strange design, and I was asking one of the guys there, and he said, oh yeah, they designed this. They didn't know if they were going to stay in business, so they designed this so they could sell it and make it into like the best mall ever. But now no one cares about malls. So Well, yeah, they would have to make it into lofts or something. I don't know what they would do now, but
they would just implode it.
Yeah, so, or make it into a data center, or no, Amazon, an Amazon center.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I just heard this is really off topic, but like the Sears headquarters is in this area, right? And that was a huge, giant campus. So at one point, Sears was like the biggest company on earth, right? Or biggest retail company on earth. And they built this absurdly large campus. And it's been abandoned for quite a long time. And I think that they finally announced that's going to get bulldozed and turned, I think, into warehouses, like Amazon distribution warehouses or something along those lines.
That's what happens now. Yeah. So what were we talking about? Sorry.
We were talking about Inform, but
that's right. That's right.
Talking about other things to happen to shopping malls in our area. There's another shopping mall near me that they're trying to convert to, like, they're putting condos around it, and then they're going to make the main mall, I don't know, still a mall. I don't know. The mall's basically abandoned, so I don't really know how they get new stores back in there.
Yeah. Well, that's our news. We have some pretty interesting games this time. I guess I'll go since mine is up there. So I chose Dr. Chaos. And I picked this one because I wanted a game that I'd never played before that was kind of for the Halloween season. And I picked Not a Good Game. So this was released in November 1988 in North America. And so you show up at your brother's house. Your brother is Dr. Chaos, and he's like a mad physicist. And you discover he's missing or something like that. So luckily you have a knife on you, and you decide to go find him in his giant mansion. And all of a sudden, all these ghouls and stuff are attacking you. You can find guns, machine guns, vitamins that give you health back. It's very Goonies 2, which came out around the same time. And for this game proves to me that Zelda 2 is just it's a fine game. A lot of people don't like that game, but Dr. Chaos has a lot of that in it. It's just not done as well. Kung Fu Master plays better than this game. Fester's Quest. So this game has some first-person elements, kind of like Goonies 2 and Fester's Quest, and kind of like Phantasy Star, actually. But all those games do it far better than this. I feel anyway. Yeah. And when you get into so you walk through hallways, and then there's doors, and you enter the door, and that's when it's first person. And you got to click or hit or open single thing in the room to find your way. First of all, this is the least child-safe house in the world. There are guns everywhere. None of them are locked up. And then you have to like hit things, and if you hit it, maybe like the wall will, part of the wall will fall over or whatever, and you can go through to this, next level you have to get to. And I don't know, like everyone that listens to this often knows that I love Sierra Online games that are point-and-click adventures, but for some reason, those don't bug me as much as this kind of point-and-click. And what else is in my notes here? The title screen is incredible.
Yeah.
When that title screen came up, I was like, oh, yes, I picked an amazing game. And that's really when it stopped being fantastic. I really thought this game was going to rule. And to add to it, it has a password system. This game was originally launched on the FDS in Japan, and you could save there, but not in America. That's about it. If you want to play this game, play Goonies 2.
Yeah, I hear you. So I said that I wrote down that I thought it was a good idea that just wasn't polished well.
Yeah.
Like one of the annoying things is when you're in the side scrolling part, right? The enemies respawn like immediately.
And you're not exaggerating. It's right away.
It's immediate. Yeah, you kill an enemy and then it respawns. So like just make them invincible. Like, there's just no point. Like they're out of your way for about a second, if that. That, and then, like you said, the kind of trial and error system of finding your way through the first person section. I ended up watching the speed run before I realized, like, oh, you're supposed to like escape out one of those little windows.
Yep, that's how I figured that out too.
And then you're in like another level. You're in like this jungle level or forest, whatever it's supposed to be. Which again, I think it looks cool. I think there's a good idea, at the root of this game. I just think they didn't execute it very well. And did you look at this link I sent about the cutting room floor, the differences between the Japanese and English versions besides the disk drive?
Briefly. What are the things you want to point out about it?
Different music. They actually changed the music between the versions a little bit. Not huge differences, but small ones. And they use different fonts. So like even in Japan, things like the game over screen are in English. The continue save those screens. For the US, they changed the font. I don't know why. It seemed fine to me. And then there's some like visual differences. I guess in America we got a better ending screen if you can make it that far.
Yeah. I guess this does have a Breath of the Wild type thing where you could get to the end guy right away, but he won't engage you unless you have all the I forget what you're trying to find. Pieces of gadget, pieces of map, pieces of something.
Yeah. Some MacGuffin. You have to find some item before you can.
Yeah. So I would give this a don't play. Or, I mean, are there any other games that I didn't compare it to that you think it needed?
No, I mean, it was closest to Goonies 2. I also said this is a lot like Goonies 2, which clearly it is. It's kind of Goonies 2 with a little bit rougher controls,
And for a late 88 game, I just feel like this is late enough where like some pretty incredible games had been released for the Nintendo at this point. Like they saw what could be and they didn't decide to do that. They meaning Marionette Co., who programmed this. And before this, they did two MSX games. And then after this, a lot of their stuff was on Amiga and Atari, some DOS and Macintosh in there. They got into the PlayStation, and all the way up to 2008, their last game was a Nintendo DS game called My World, My Way. I am not aware of that game.
Yeah. Now, it came out a year earlier in Japan. Does that change your opinion?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I guess it did come out. Yeah. So, I mean, still, Kung Fu Master plays better than this.
Yeah.
But yeah, wanna hop to your game?
Yeah, I did Plants vs. Zombies, which is a game that I knew about before I never knew about Plants vs. Zombies. Obviously it was a mainstream game. But I didn't really try it until I'd heard the soundtrack. Have you ever listened to the soundtrack for the game?
Oh, yeah.
It's on Spotify and all the other services, I assume. I heard that, and it became like an instant, I'm going to play this on Halloween kind of thing. Like when I have the trick-or-treat table set up and all the stuff, for Halloween, maybe we blast the Plants vs. Zombies music in the background, right?
Yeah.
It feels like Halloween, but it's not spooky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I played the DS version, which I get is not the most technically advanced one, but it's the one that I can play. I did double check how far I got, because once you start playing it, you can kind of binge it for a couple hours and lose track of time. So I got up to, I guess, what is World 5, which is where it's
at the
a
roof?
night level with the pool. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that that's before the roof?
Before the roof. I did not. I looked at some playthroughs to the roof, and I'm like, okay, I think I played far enough. Because the game does get a little repetitive after a while, right? I mean, each level, the strategy is pretty much the same. You stack up, you put your flowers all the way in back, you put stuff that shoots things in front of them, and then you put up barriers ahead of the things that shoot things. Like, that's pretty much the strategy for every level. I maybe spammed the freezing shots a little too much. There's the attack that freezes enemies, so then even if you're like weaker shooters, it doesn't matter, they're frozen. So if it takes a long time to kill them, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was my basic strategy, is a lot of freezing things, a lot of, just regular shooters. And I know that there's more advanced things. There's characters later on that can like hurdle over some of your defenses. And at least when I got to some of the pool levels, I found like just sacrificing 2 rows, the rows with, in the water, actually kind of made those levels easier.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Just accept I'm going to lose those 2 rows and don't try to fortify them at all. So I did a little bit of that. And overall, I think it's a lot of fun. There's a good chance I will play it again at some point. While I was researching the version differences, I found that someone made a bootleg NES version. And that version looks awful. Unofficial bootleg version.
I do think the DS port is fantastic. I think this game translates well to the DS. It is one that I actually own the card of.
Okay. So what's your overall opinion of this game?
Well, so I play the iPad version, which might be the original. I'm not sure, but I adore this game. I really got into it because my son did. It was one of his first games he liked was, Pac-Man 256, Sonic Mania, and Plants vs. Zombies. Maybe some Sneaky Sasquatch in there. But with Plants vs. Zombies, since it's a strategy game, it ended up me being the one who helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Now he's old enough where he could do it. But I do think this is in the top 3 or 4 strategy games ever. And it's fun. It's charming. There are some heart-pounding moments in it. I do think that you should, when you're not sick of it anymore, get back into it, because you have one more level, and I think that is it. And the end boss, I think his name is Gargantua. I could be wrong. Or that might be a different beast. Anyway, it is fantastic. It's a really fun boss battle. And it's one of those that like 2 or 3 times and you'll absolutely get it. And like you said, the music's fantastic. In that time, the company that made this game sold to a bigger company, and Plants vs. Zombies 2 is horrible. It's a money grab.
Okay.
So don't play that one, which is sad because it has a lot of cool upgrades, but it's just annoying to play. They really did ruin it. So there's also a 3D port. It's like Plants vs. Zombies Neighborhood, something like that. But it's a first-person shooter. It's actually pretty fun. So I love this franchise. My kid also loves the comic books. Okay. I don't, because I had to read to him, and a lot of the text is like a green, like the text bubble is like a green bubble with writing in it. And my eyes just cannot, I was like, I can't read this anymore. I don't know what it says. But anyway, I think all of our listeners should play this game. I'm glad you picked it. What do you...
I was surprised. I liked it more than I thought I would. I typically don't play a lot of strategy games, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What are you going to play next?
Well, since I was looking at Inform games, I'm thinking I'm going to do a game called The Lurking Horror, which is an old Infocom game from '87. Not 100% sure I'll play it, but I do actually own this with all the accessories you need. And I kind of like it because...
What's it on? What do you own?
It's on any Apple II, Commodore 64, Amiga, Amstrad CPC, Atari 8-bit, Atari ST, Macintosh.
What do you have it for?
I have the Apple II version.
Okay.
Which, of course, I don't have an Apple II. It really doesn't matter. The box, the thing that's important is you can't play the game without the stuff in the box. So you have to play it with an FAQ, because some of the puzzles require you to, interact with the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I like it because it's sort of a horror game, but it's also set in winter, so it's kind of a nice, it's the end of Halloween season by the time this comes out, and it'll be winter soon, and this is kind of a nice transition between the two vibes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, because I always think A Nightmare Before Christmas is a Thanksgiving movie.
Okay.
You know, because I despise Christmas stuff when it's not very close to Christmas.
Okay.
So, and I love Halloween stuff year round, but this one, since it's so Christmassy, I never watch that movie other than like Thanksgiving, mostly on Thanksgiving Day or the day after. But anyway, that's besides the point. My game is Castlevania Legends.
Okay. And what is that on?
I think that's the Game Boy.
Okay. Is that on the Game Boy collection that's on the Switch?
Let's find out right now.
I don't think it is. There's a Castlevania game. Oh, I'm thinking of Castlevania Bloodlines, I think, and that's on Genesis. Yeah, it appears not to have been re-released because I don't see it on the official page. And he talks about re-release.
If you don't own this one, this is a good chance to edit your pocket and put it on there.
I suppose so, yeah. I have to check. Again, the real reason for it is I have just a huge pile of Game Gear games. So I was going to at least play through those first.
Yeah, that's a good point. But so, if anyone plays The Lurking Horror, Castlevania Legends, Plants vs. Zombies, Dr. Chaos, if you do a coding game jam, if you have any opinions on the Analogue company or detachable disk drives, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. All of our socials are in our link tree in the show notes that Zach runs. And he's been doing a lot on social lately. So get on that if you like. And I might post some of my studio stuff there. And then hopefully when I'm done with all these certifications, some other game stuff. But we do have quite a bit of good listener feedback this time.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to take the first one.
Yeah, I'll take the
I
second.
read all of these, so it's going to sound like I didn't. But I actually did read all of them before. From Gamatroid. Just says that they're a longtime listener. So they said they finally got around to playing some of the recent games. I told you I did read this before, but
the second a microphone gets in front of you, brains turn off.
I figured out the best place to start with it. So anyways, they want to give some feedback on Haunted House and Zombies Ate My Neighbors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Haunted House, they said same experience that we both had. Could never figure out what to do in Haunted House, but they did respect its place in gaming history. The original Atari card is painful to play. There have been several remakes, and is curious about the latest Atari remake. But also, you can get... Apparently, there's an Xbox 360 remake. And I don't think... If it's Xbox 360, that must not be the same one that I just played.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So now I'm curious what is different about that one.
Yeah, like if it is different, why would they go, why make another remake? It's a pretty simple game. Yeah.
Yeah. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This is a game that Gamatroid played a lot of. They thought the music and graphics at the time were excellent and enjoyed the whole vibe of the game. It had 50 plus levels, which is very intimidating, and they never got much further than the giant baby boss battle. But they go back and replay those first few levels again and still really like it and think it holds up well today. Did not ever play the sequel when it was new, but apparently it's not quite the same quality as the original.
Yeah. And I'll take the next one. Stuart writes in from the UK. Has been listening for a few years now. Thank you so much, Stuart. And he, I guess we said something about wanting infinite lives on Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And
yes.
I definitely, even if I don't remember saying that, I do want that.
I said that. Yeah, I think that was my feedback, that it needs an endless lives ROM hack or code or something.
And he has that for us. He gave us a link to his Google Drive, and there is a ROM hack that has, it pulls up a menu, and I think it gives you a bunch of different stuff, but infinite lives is, oh yeah. So it's like pretty much a built-in Game Genie in there. Oh yeah, and Rob, not Stuart, mentioned retro achievements in the last episode and wondered if our listeners, any of them, used retro achievements like I do. And he does not, probably because it's like a social competitive thing that he's not into. And Stuart, I totally get that. And this is like the social thing I do, because there really isn't any social thing about it other than like trade your usernames. You can kind of see what other people are doing. There's no talking or messaging or anything. You just kind of see the funny achievements people get. And he has a Retroid Pocket 2 Plus that he sometimes hooks up to his TV and uses a couple of Bluetooth controllers for like a mini console. And for modern gaming, he used Stadia until that didn't exist anymore. And so now he has a 360 with a 250 gig drive that someone gave to him. And he recommends this to people because the games are seriously cheap and there's a lot of good stuff on there. And that's about the most modern thing he's doing. And yeah, man, I've over the past like 2 years, I've never owned an Xbox or anything like any Microsoft console. So I started collecting those because there are a lot of games that you can only get on there. So Stuart, I know exactly what you're saying. I have a little collection. I'm excited to start playing. The only problem is I don't have any more HDMI ports. So I would have to put away one of my consoles. So it's only out of laziness that I'm not doing it. And it's nice that the 360 can also play a lot of original Xbox games. But yeah, thank you for writing in.
Thank you. And then Majors writes in, what is considered retro in the gaming world? He says this obviously comes up a lot in conversations he's had. He still thinks that retro games are from the first 4 generations, so anything from Pong to like 16-bit systems. But he's a bit of an outlier. That anything that is 20 years old, he would concede could be retro, but maybe not 10 years old.
I say 20, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. 20 takes you pretty far back nowadays if you think about it. I mean, Game Boy Advance was like a credible system 20 years ago. Maybe the idea when a discontinued console starts selling for past their original retail prices, then it's considered retro. That's an interesting theory.
That.
Yeah, because like right now, I'm sure I can get like a PS3 for a nickel. But in a couple of years, when there's not as many functional PS3s and they're like $100 again, or what? Well, PS3 had to sell for more than $100 in the day.
And that makes the Turbo Duo was always retro.
No, there was a period of time when I found Duo stuff cheap.
It wasn't long though. That was a short window.
Yeah. Around the time eBay came out, it was pretty expensive.
Yep.
What else? $99 for virtual racing. Here is getting a loose cart for $250 from Rhino Games when they were clearing out all the 16-bit games in around 2007. So it would be about 10 years after the last official Genesis release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But still, virtual racing is a game that only goes for about $20 on eBay still. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't want that game. I have like 2 copies of that game. I've literally found that game twice for $1. So I guess a lot of people must have bought it and not a lot of people want it. I don't know. We mentioned TurboGrafx forums. He wants to make sure we mention PCEngineFans.com, which I don't think I've been to. I don't have time for forums, but PCEngineFans.com. Mm-hmm. They have a nice artwork on their homepage at least. Best method for retro gaming. I guess we asked that on the social media. He prefers to play on original hardware, but also has a laptop connected to a CRT, and the laptop is running Battlesera. So I probably mispronounced. Recently picked up an emulation handheld, the Anbernic RG351V. I don't know that one.
I don't know that one either.
And of course, the conventions prefers to hook up the real games, so people can play on the real thing instead of on a mini or an emulation box. It also helps experience when you have original controllers that are hard to emulate, like the Intellivision controller. And then he gives us a link also to another controller, the MyComsoft XE1AP. What is this thing?
How would you explain this, how this looks to a listener? It almost looks like a spider's face.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it looks like if you tried to build a Dreamcast controller in the 80s.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Kind of got that aesthetic going. I don't think we ever sold this in the store. I don't remember this at all. XE-1AP. It sounds like one of Elon Musk's kids, I guess. It was released for Mega Drive only. Has 6 face buttons, 4 shoulder buttons, analog. Why does it have so many buttons if it's for the Mega Drive? Oh, okay, whatever.
Auto fires and stuff like that.
I guess stuff like that. I think that's about it.
Yeah. So, all 3 of you, thank you for writing in. I love that we're getting more. I guess my begging for more emails is working. So thank you. Please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. And we do have a few socials. Our Zach's social media question was, what do you consider the best method for retro gaming? Emulation, FPGA, original hardware, or something else? And someone says they haven't used FPGA, so they don't have an opinion on that. But he does a lot of software emulation. And someone else, I'll sum up this one, pretty much says, however you play games, that's fine. There's pros and cons for all options. So just there's room for us all.
Yes.
And the next question is going to be, what game has been in your collection the longest? And I'm going to answer mine right now. Empire Strikes Back on the 2600, King's Quest 3 on Apple IIgs, and DuckTales on NES. Those have never left my collection.
All right. That's a good question.
Yeah, so that's on social, but you can still email us with all that stuff. Email at retrogameclub.net. And our new games are, I'm scrolling up because I forgot already, Castlevania Legends and The Lurking Horror.
All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah. Thank you.